Hello everybody, and welcome to this interior design quick sketching tutorial in which I'm going to show you the whole process I used to set up the Concepts app on an iPad to allow me to quickly, but also with dimensions, so precisely explore this set of design variations for this booth design you're seeing here. In this demonstration, I will run you through the whole process by setting up the document, by setting up the scale, bringing in human figures so we could trace over them to scale, then creating various plan and elevation views via copy and pasting, very quickly creating different design variations, and then also switching to the isometric grid so we can quickly create an isometric quick sketch of the design. And this all is basically geared towards creating sketches which are somewhat to scale and proportionally correct. So we can then take that, what we discovered, and in the end, for example, bring this into a CAD program, make a 3D model, add materials. Okay, and with all that said, let's get started. Okay, and with all that said, let's do it. But before we get started, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification button so you will never miss any upcoming video. And now let's really get started. To get started, you want to download the starter file. The download link is in the description of this video. Keep in mind that is a zipped concepts files, and when you download this on an iPad, you have to go to Files, tap the zip download file, which will then unzip it, and then you have the concepts file, which you can import. Very good. So we are inside the document. The first thing what we want to do is set up our work environment. White paper is fine. The artboard we can set up to 8.5 by 11. We can set this up as landscape. Then we can go to measurements. So we have 1 inch equal 1 inch. This is definitely too big for creating 2 scale drawings on a sheet of paper of this scale. So we can, for example, write 1 inch equal 24 inches. So 1 inch is equal 2 feet. We're also working here in imperial, auto scale, and then you have the display format. Yeah, very good. Good. Last thing maybe also to point out, after we set up the drawing scale, when we then go to the grid, we see that this graph paper we see is actually kind of like showing 1 foot. So it's actually very easy now when we start sketching, you just count the grids and you know roughly already how many feet in real life you are drawing. Now we can close this one. The humans we can move to the side. I brought in kind of like a woman sitting, a man standing, and then we see somebody from the top. Before we start drawing anything, now we can bring this image already to scale. We can see here that all these images, I got them from dimensions.com, made a screenshot. They all have a reference. So 18 inches and 5 feet and 9 inches. So I can turn on the grid, turn on options, snapping, and then also have measurement turned on. And then somewhere I just draw a vertical line. Then I go to the selection tool, select that line. You see there is kind of like a length, 3 feet. And on the top of the screen, you also see L, 3.93 feet. If we tap on this there, look at that. There we can go ahead and type in 5 feet 9 inches and hit enter. So that line is now scaled to 5 feet 9 inches with the scale factor 1 to 24. This is very useful because now I can take this image, bring this down, And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, it was more by accident, it already has the correct scale. So the ground line where the person is standing on lines up with the bottom end of the line I drew. And then with the pencil, I tap on the upper left corner and then hold my finger on the display so I can scale proportionally. And yeah, so this roughly really matches up. Cool. Okay. This is not science. The sketches just have to be somewhat close. Or with science, I should have said, we're not in AutoCAD. We want to quickly sketch, but what we sketch also should be to scale or usable. Now this we will convert to 18 inches. So I tap on this top area, 18 inches, enter there. Very good. Noticed when I brought them in, they were very, very close. Okay. Tick to, actually, let me bring this one to the side and it's easier to see. I'm using the grid to bring this line down to the grid. And there, yeah. Okay, that should do it. Oops, let's not delete that line. Actually, we can delete that line. Very good. Now, we have these other figures here, no? So this is a top view, and there we need to understand a little bit about human body. Now, when we sit on a chair, very often the chair is kind of like 16 inches wide. There are also measurements for how wide, for example, shoulders are. We can draw somewhere a horizontal line. Then we select that line, say, whoops, what did I do? Undo. Oh, I must have switched the tool actually. And then we say 17 inches. Very good. I bring this somewhere to a grid. Now I can use the grid to kind of like scale things. Need to take a look at it from here. I tap on the lower right point, tap on the screen or push my finger on it and then scale. And yeah, so this starts to look close. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Good. That line we can delete. This document we created, I'm going to hide for the moment. I go to infinite space. And now our first step is we will make a new layer. Click on new layer. These human photos we can also make more transparent. Go to that layer. Sorting is done manual, so switch to manual. And then we can say humans. Very good. And then we can pick a pose. So maybe here he's just eating or talking into your microphone. Very quickly, we're going to sketch him out. I have here already predefined two different tools. One is for straighter lines. This is a little bit more organic. And then while on that layer, very quickly, we want to not have the snapping turned on. Measurement we can turn off. And then after drawing this one time, I see that this is way too much smoothing. So maybe 20 something. Yeah, this is very good. And then just go ahead and sketch out these elements there. Speed here is really key. Don't draw it too slow because then your hand is shaking. Don't draw too fast because then you're losing precision. And this is, as you can see, really easy to do. Here's the arm. Here comes the shoulder, the rest of the jacket, V-neck. Yeah, there we are. Very good. And since we are in the age of people constantly on smartphones, she also will be on an electronical device. And the whole idea behind these human figures is basically we don't want to know who that is. We don't really want to look at them a lot. They're only nothing else than a tool to give us an idea about the scale of this object. So all we need is a sketch that is just enough to understand what it is. So logically, this type of a person, yeah, that's not going to be useful. I'm going to hide actually the images so I can make him disappear. Very nice. Now, and then we can do also the same with the person sitting. So the photo layer I turn off. I will select these layers, these individual sketch lines and group them into individual objects. And then it's just tapping on a group and I can move them around. Perfect. Very good. Okay, so with that actually now done, we can start thinking about the booth design. To start, we want to have two people sitting somewhere. So I will select one person sitting, making a copy, making another copy, mirroring this over, and then I'm imagining also a table there in between, and maybe somebody has to walk through there too. Now you see I'm not drawing the space, I'm actually placing the humans in there first. Then I can go back to my drawing tool, which I'm going to straighten a little bit more. And then I will turn on measurement and let's draw a horizontal line. So this, yeah, is nearly 8 feet. Here, these two lines is actually on the grid to 8 feet. Very good. Then we can think about the height. So 1 foot, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's do the same on the other side. Very good. I do have here a midline, and then I can think about how high I actually would like the whole object to be. So when these are 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, so these are 9 feet, then I know I will have a line there and a line roughly there. And then the center line, for example, that should be around, yeah, 9 feet. Okay. So I did sketch everything out kind of like from the outside surrounding them. We might need to bring them a little bit closer because we have to take care now also of the upholstery they are sitting on. I will go back here to my one drawing tool. So 6 inches. Yeah, that's good because now this is 1 foot. Represents 6 inches. So I can very quickly draw here a vertical and horizontal line. Same there. So I'm building actually now the wall, and I need to create a nice offset. So I'm rotating the line so it's vertical, and then I draw a line perpendicular that looks like 6. I can do exactly the same here. There, that's good enough. And then I select one line, make a copy. I will turn rotate off, and then I scale this one up quite a lot. Copy, mirror it, bring this over there, try to align this. Very nice. And then here comes our kind of like split tool, and I am erasing everything that's not needed. And then these lines, these were spacers. I can take them and remove them. Obviously, the correct one. Very nice. So kind of like the house architecture is done. And then we can go ahead and think about the seating. This should be around 17, 18 inches. And look at that. It is very good. So we can think about the booth. Here you sit, then this goes over 16, 17. Then we have a little bit of a backrest. How long is that? If I tap the line, tells me 17 inches. Okay. And then I will draw here a horizontal line. I'm going to combining a lot of things here already. So I will make a new layer. And for example, I could call this one house booth design or whatnot. And then my two humans, I will move to somewhere else. So with the selection tool and the lasso, I select everything besides them, move that onto the new layer. And then I can move them back. There, actually her, I will delete. No, wait, nope. Bring them to here. Sorry for the confusion. Then I go to the house. I will select all these lines I need. So you, and you, but nothing else. I can group this, copy, mirror this over. Now with a finger, select and move, position it there, and then she will come back. Touchdown. This maybe we rotate a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Very nice. There. You see? Super easy. Now I have here a tool for dotted lines. We can make this very thin. We can also make this orange. What I will do now is I will set this up to be super straight. Oh, that was the wrong tool. So this is straight, and the color, there we have this. This can be really useful if I now draw myself, for example, here, some of these guidelines. I can bring over where all these elements are. Then I go back to my normal drawing tool. There's the roof, there's the sides. How wide should this be? I can select him, make a copy, and put the person in there. Very good. So I will draw something roughly here over. Yeah, so let's say 4 feet. This goes down there and there. Whoop. There. Very nice. Now, so one person could be, for example, in there. And I use this image of the person standing because it shows the person from the front. Okay, let's do a top view. So I know roughly here this goes down. I have also my center, for example. Do this one more time. There and there and there. Now we can use then our drawing tool. I will shorten all this a little bit. You don't have to draw these red lines, but I'm just showing them simply as a helper. I mean, when I learned drafting manually, that's also how we constructed everything. So the guidelines. Very good. Okay, very nice. We can, by the way, also use this dotted tool or thinner lines to indicate elements. So I will change this to really thin. So 22, we should memorize this value. There is now everything for the wall. Here, everything is for the seating, and looks like even here and there. So that's the backrest, and somewhat the same here. Now, if we would have drawn, which is something you're going to do, a person from the top, we could then move the person in there. This line is way too crazy, so I'm deleting this. I will go back to 22 and draw this along here. Clean this up a little bit. Perfect. Yeah, very nice. Now, you see, this is actually not too complicated. Then we can make a new layer. I call this one annotations, dimensions, or whatever you want to put onto it. I have here one layer, and there I will select, sorry, not one layer, one pen. I will select the red color, because what I would like to show you now is now how we can also annotate everything. So here it's a matter of preference. Since we do dimensions, maybe this should actually be more precise. So I create myself here a small quick grid, and then from here to there, I draw this one down. Based on where you are, you can put in your architectural ticks or arrows. This was drawn with 100, and then if I make this softer there, then based on the naming conventions now on the line, below the line, etc., you can just then write down, for example, this is, I will use a cube, so 5 feet, this will be 4 feet, and we have something later here, 9 feet. This line I will bring a little bit further in, so then this one will go to there, and this one will go to there, nicely centered. This line here, that we will make stop, let's say, there. This line I can make a copy, bring that to there, and then here, this goes to there. Okay. So, and in a similar methodology, no, I will then create also the other dimensions. So one there, actually we decided they're too far away. We will decide to get them pretty close. So kind of like 6 inches in my drawing. 2, 2, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 over. And then we set this is 4 feet. Very good. Okay, very nice. No? We could also use the fill tool together with the guide, and I will use the rectangle to draw ourselves a nice rectangular shape. Then guide to turn off. I select the fill tool, filled area, select the rotate tool to be turned off, and then I will stretch this rectangle maybe to here. And then as a second step, I can make this white. And then I sketch in what, for example, this is. This is booth design. We can also then do the other view, say elevation view, side view, front view, plan view, and whatnot. But since we're in this tutorial, or actually in this video, I'm not going to show literally every step what I did previously, just more a summary. Here, now you can see how well this really works. These lines I created are a tick maybe too thin, too difficult to discover. So there, that works a little bit. Got ignored. It's okay. There. Very nice. Okay. So last step, how do we very quickly turn this also into an isometric view? Cool thing is we also have this as a grid. And because we set up a scale, everything works here also the same way. So if I draw something down here, you see it now 5, and there that should be then at one point 8 feet. So we could draft everything exactly the same way if we want to. Or let me show you a fun, simple trick. So this we turn off. House. Yeah, there. I will go to this layer, and then I will select everything there, make a copy, move this to somewhere else. I have these red lines copied. I will select and delete them. There we are. I can bring this one up to there. And to very quickly take this and create now this isometric view, we're simply shifting, more perspectively distorting this. You saw that I selected these 2 dots, and I bring everything down, hit tab, so it follows actually that grid. We decided this whole thing is 4 feet wide, so I will move this a little bit over. There we are. Then I can go to my drawing tool, and along the grid simply draw myself a line. That's 4. Perfect. Copy, bring this down, copy, bring this up. There we are. Copy, bring this over. You see, this is just copy and paste. That's a cool thing about Concepts, unlike sketching in other programs like Procreate, which is pixel based. Nothing against Procreate, but that's just a downside. It's great to make images. Here we create more, or should I say that, architectural diagrams. One more copy to there, one copy to there, and one copy to there. And then we can use the slice command, clean this up, select what we don't need, remove it. Then I need to create here a line straight down. This is kind of like color by numbers. I just connect these dots. That should then also follow the perspective correctly. There we are. And here, following the grid, this goes straight up. This line here, this point makes no sense because we don't have it. And there, we very quickly created kind of like an isometric view of that design. And with this last step, I reached the end of this demonstration because now I showed you everything, starting with bringing humans in, setting up your document, also to scale, and then using the drawing tools and layers to create plan, elevation, and even a quick isometric sketch, and adding some information, for example, the design title, the view title, and some basic dimensions. Okay, that's it.